Your professional role. Before we turn to some practical memo writing pointers, I'd like to put this first memo assignment into a larger context. You are now a professional, a member of a firm, contributing to a senior lawyer's work to serve a client's needs. Your academic training is now being used for a professional purpose. The focus is now on a product that predicts a result or assesses risk, rather than an academic inquiry, which is often open-ended. Our firm has an investment in your professional development. What does that mean? We want you to gain as much experience as possible as you build your confidence in your ability as an independent legal thinker. We hope to do this by creating a positive learning environment, but we also expect you to take the initiative to seek out mentors and work. Our lawyers are busy, but welcome hearing from you as to how we can assist you in your professional development. We need you to recognize the ethical challenges inherent in all legal matters and to make choices that reflect the highest standards of professional conduct. You represent our firm and the profession to the public, so we want you to have high aspirations and present a strong, positive, and professional image. As a new lawyer, you do have the reassurance that someone else will review your work. But you can never rely on others to find your mistakes. Your work is valued. That doesn't mean you can expect to get credit for everything you do. Don't be surprised to find that the senior partner only uses a small part of your memo, or that another partner turns your memo into a client advice letter and signs off on it without reference to you. The senior partner will decide how best to use your work and will be alive to what his or her client requires in that regard. Clients generally need to see that the senior lawyer is active on the file. Now, let's get practical. You do the best you can every time within the time constraints imposed. You are not going to be 100% happy with your work product, because you won't always have time to polish it as much as you might like. You want to be as efficient as possible. This is good for the client and the firm. We don't like to spend the client's money unnecessarily. We want them to come back. Every one of the lawyers here will expect your undivided attention, so you need to keep track of and stay on top of multiple responsibilities. What happens when you get a memo assignment? First, it never hurts to start by asking the assigning lawyer, what are you going to do with this memo? Is it for pleadings, an advice letter, a risk assessment? Is this an informal or formal memo? This way, every element of your memo can be directed to that purpose. Part of understanding the assignment is understanding the client's story and where the memo fits into it. Bradley's situation is a good example to use. Bradley wants us, as his business lawyers, to launch a new software company. And so the restrictive covenant memo needed to be set in the context of his business objectives. Mostly, Bradley wants incorporation and business contract advice. But the restrictive covenant is one potential barrier to Bradley's plans. Ben's memo will be used as part of a risk analysis and to plan a strategy to get Bradley where he wants to go with minimal cost and delay. In Bradley's case, there is no current or pending court action. And, in fact, we would prefer to keep Bradley out of court if possible. If there were an ongoing court matter, you would need to make sure you knew exactly what stage the case is at, what has already happened, and where the memo fits into the next steps in the court's proceedings. I've asked you to write it as a formal memo because that is my preference, and most of the firm's lawyers still want the formal memo format and tone. Some lawyers are okay with informal memos, particularly when there is a short timeline. And I have seen informal memos from other firms, but that is not the norm at our firm. What else do you need to know? In this firm, intelligent pestering is valued. What does this mean? You need to take as much initiative as you can. If you can figure out what you need to know by reviewing the file and other resources, then do it. But you are not expected to know it all. Lawyers appreciate it when you ask questions that get them the results they need. Take the initiative to ask intelligent questions, the ones you can't answer on your own, and ask them early on. At the same time, do not look for hand-holding. No needy stuff. Here are some other practical questions to ask before you start. Time management. How much time should I spend? The firm may not want to bill too much on this matter. Is there a deadline, and is it firm? You may be up against litigation deadlines and will need to plan accordingly. How long should the memo be? The answer will give you a sense of the level of detail expected. Lawyer preferences. Is there a model I should use, or are there any format instructions to follow? The firm or the lawyer may have very specific preferences on font, headings, and organizational structure. Do you want print or electronic research material? Do you want me to refer to secondary sources? Some lawyers will want you to print out all the cases. Others will just need electronic versions. Should I discuss each stage of the work with you, and when? Research, first draft, next week, and so on. Planning for your meetings to discuss your progress will keep you on track. Resources and context. Is there a file that I can review to bring me up to date on what is happening with this matter? You need a good sense of the context and details of the file. Should I consult anyone else in the firm? There may be similar files or previous work that could be relevant to your memo. Research. Where do I start and when do I stop? Please do not cut corners, and please do not go overboard. What do I mean by cutting corners? Every time you pick up a new assignment, you will likely be challenged by something you have not thought about. Sometimes assigning lawyers are looking for a quick update on a topic they know well. If you are getting a memo assignment, usually there is some new wrinkle, and that means both you and the assigning lawyer will be challenged by new material. You are likely going to have to educate yourself broadly before you can hone in on the specific legal issue. You should start with secondary sources, a textbook, a good law review article. Many new lawyers think they are being efficient by putting in key words into a research database and finding cases on point. If you do this, you may easily lose out on the big picture, and when you are new to an area, that is trouble. You may filter out issues that are more important to the case resolution than the issue you originally thought about. Even lawyers with subject matter expertise often start by looking for articles that update recent trends. Once you have read the secondary sources, then it is critical to take the time to review all your facts. That way you can refine